What is going on, team? Welcome to today's vlog. Another vlog filled with drama. Who doesn't love drama? I didn't really do drama at school. I wasn't into like acting. And when I say drama, I mean more kind of like heated debate around the situation of the CrossFit Games. Yes. Oh, yes. Team, we all know CrossFit as an organisation, they like to kind of tell us information at the last minute. You know, they're just a bit out there. It's kind of cool, it makes them how they are, gives them personality, and I'm a big fan of that. I think I'm just going to jump into today's news. Currently, as of now, team, nearly 90% of all CrossFit gyms around the world are closed. Apart from to those damn gym owners, huh? And if you missed the news about the Rogue Invitational, it got rescheduled to June 13th and 14th as an online competition, which means that they forfeit their spot to qualify an athlete to the CrossFit Games. But the whole gist around it was that the format was that all athletes would do the required workouts at their retrospective locations and will be streamed for fans to watch. Pretty cool? Maybe a logistical nightmare. Now, what we do know about the Rogue Invitational is the prize money is still $350,000. You'll still get $5,000 for an event win. And what we also know is over the last couple of days, all of the athletes that were supposed to be competing individually have been sent an email asking them to fill in a survey. And I'm guessing that's around access to equipment, to gyms, etc, etc. In another bit of big news though, we did see the cancellation of the Legends event and the team event for the Rogue Invitational. Logistically, getting teams together during this social distancing time, I mean, you just couldn't do it. And then if you wanted to carry it on as 4 individuals, it's kind of not a team event anymore. And while the Legends, they're just legends, give them a bit of time off for being legends. Now, bear in mind, the Rogue Invitational is one of the biggest sanctioned events and one of the biggest CrossFit events outside of the CrossFit Games. A lot of people, including myself, when we go there, we kind of call it the mini games. It is. And they've made these changes. Now, where does this all come into the CrossFit Games? Well, over the last couple of days, we've had the announcement that the CrossFit Games is still going ahead. In a post on Instagram, they said, "We remain fully committed to planning a live competition with live media coverage. At this point, we are concentrating on a competition in Aromas, the original home of the CrossFit Games. We are also evaluating options for virtual competition. We will continue to monitor events globally and will have more details for athletes and fans in the coming months. The Games will not be a public event. Due to sweeping decisions to ban large festivals and sporting events for the foreseeable future, we are suspending the on-site spectator experience for this year." Now, if you missed it, the Alliant Energy Centre in Madison was announced recently as an alternative care facility. As a potential field hospital with this COVID-19, if the hospitals in Madison fill up, it will be kind of like a spillover and another place for people to be cared for, which may be one of the reasons as to why the Games has changed location back to the ranch. Now, what did people think about this? Matty Saunders, husband to Cara Saunders, new mum and qualified athlete out of Australia, asked the question, what if countries have no-fly policies?
The things that are in my mind initially are that, you know, I am in Australia. I do obviously have to travel internationally to compete. I really want to compete. I worked really, really hard to get a spot at the CrossFit Games this year after having a baby. So I would really hate to miss that opportunity. But I also really do have to consider the current climate and, you know, making a massive trip to the US and then what that looks like.
Jacob Heppner just came in with a load of explosions.
Initial reaction is, one, I love Aromas, obviously. I was there in 2016. I think that HQ probably wants to cancel it to some degree. I think they want it to go on. They literally want it to go on. But they don't want to be the one that cancel it themselves because then they have to refund and lose out on a lot of money. Instead, what they're hoping is that some hierarchy of power, in this case the state of California, comes and says, you can't do this. And therefore, then they are not obligated to do it, and then Reebok still pays them hypothetically. So I think that's kind of what they're getting at, because it is their final year for the Reebok contract. Right. And that's my personal preference. Now, I haven't read the contract. Sure. I don't know what it looks like. But from the outside looking in, I'm comparing those two situations, and I think that HQ wants someone to tell them to cancel it. And they're going to say, I think they're going to say they're going to have it up until the final day. And then if someone says no, then they're going to get their money and they're going to wash their hands and say, till next year.
Heppner thinks it's kind of around the money. His emojis are literally his actions in life. It's great. He's probably out in his garden at the same time, blowing it up. Regan Huckabee, a team athlete. Our team's included in this thought process, asking for a friend. Lauren Fisher underneath, asking for me or both of us. Other people were a little bit more concerned. Is that Katie or Kath? Please just cancel. With over half the sanctionals having to cancel this season and the likely chance that no international athletes can make it, it doesn't allow for a fair test to find the fittest. Additionally, online competitions aren't the same and don't test being competition ready. Just like a training PR and a competition PR are two different things. You can be best on your own turf and not mentally strong enough when it comes to challenges in live competition, like a certain Greek national champion we all saw. I actually didn't read that full thing before I got to the end. Whoops. Tim Paulson said, man, I hope it goes to the ranch. I've never been and it's a place I've always wanted to compete. A huge question was cuts or no cuts. That is the question. Yes. Someone asked for a 100 ticket giveaway to the fans. And then make quads great again. You gotta love him. He said first they cancel regionals, then they fire the media, now they fire the fans. Rest in peace. This comment called out Greg Glassman. He said, why not just join the UFC on their private island? If we look at the situation around the world right now with COVID-19, it's one of those things where when is travel going to come back online? When is it going to become viable? Looking at reports here in Europe, Spain aren't even opening their borders to tourists until 2021. And then we saw a post from CrossFit Games teen qualifier Emma Gardner, with the main content of the post being that the fact that Dave Castro couldn't say yes, teens and masters are included. Instead, he said, you'll have to wait and see. Now, why did I bring up the Rogue Invitational? I think the Rogue Invitational, honestly, for me, is gonna be a test run. Yes. Again, this is all speculation. You know, if we're looking at getting athletes to Aromas to the ranch, if we look at it realistically and we're looking at logistics, having a full field of national champions and sanctioned event winners from around the world probably isn't going to happen. Neither is then having 10, 20 teams of 4 athletes, masters, teens. You'd end up with 400-500 people at the ranch, which 1, wouldn't be allowed by the state, and 2, that's a lot of people. When looking at the situation from outside, I reckon CrossFit will be looking a lot at Rogue and seeing how that online, all at one time competition from different places around the world pans out. With a select few athletes that they may have to kind of whittle down through more online competition to then have this live online competition. And unfortunately, they'd have to scrap teams, teens and masters unless they did a similar kind of online format for those. If not, if they're really out to find the fittest on earth, they're probably this year just going to find the fittest in the US. After this post, Dave Castro then did pipe in with a picture himself of the rig that they used in 2007 with the caption saying, should it be included in the 2020 CrossFit Games? To which someone then did reply, I don't know. It's a good one. One of those lanes looks a little faster than the others. Tying things in, that's comedy. My answer is it looks pretty, that looks like it'd fall apart. Can you imagine putting 20, 90 kilo dudes on that? If you've ever been on a bar when people have been kipping and there's loads of people kipping, and if it moves right, you get good rhythm, and if it moves wrong, you can barely do a 0 pull-up. 0! And then just some food for thought. I actually got in contact with Matt O'Keefe, director of Loud and Live Events, running some of the biggest CrossFit sanctioned events like Waterpalooza, West Coast Classic, Granite Games, Mayan Classic, Madrid. And this is what he had to say around the situation.
Hey, Craig and Jazz, Team Hustle, how are you? Listen, just to chime in on event stuff, I think it's important to say that, you know, as an event organizer, one that operates 5 sanctional events annually, that we're still, optimistic, and, sort of sitting back right now and trying to, use facts to judge on, how we pivot and how we operate these events. We feel a really high sense of responsibility to have these events, operate these events this year, at a minimum because of what they mean to the community. And then further to the sport. They're big earning platforms for athletes, whether it's them competing and being present for brands or earning an actual paycheck through their performance. So we're being very cautious in our communication right now. We're not canceling these events today because, we do know that we have some calendar, some runway to try to possibly operate those in the 2020 calendar year. I think some of it's predicated on when and where the CrossFit Games are. So I think it's a little bit of an uneasy time for an athlete right now when you look at this, because the athlete just has to sort of focus on what's in front. A lot of them do have that Rogue Invitational to train for. The Games, essentially at this point, is going to try to operate in August, on the same date it was going to be in Madison, just in a different location. But, all in all, I think, the athletes know, and they need a certain amount of runway in order to train for a target. They need about 8 to 10 weeks, maybe for the Games, 12 weeks to, be, in that really, grind mode to train and prepare. It's just wait and see. I know the games that like us are trying to find some light where they have an opportunity to look and then be a little more definitive with the schedule. But for now, all I know on our front is we're trying really hard to find that light and find a window where we can operate these events, whether it's for fans, for everybody participating, for just the elites and made for TV. And even if we've got to look at how we might do virtual, with people doing these workouts at home, we're considering everything, all with the goal to operate these events and provide that for the athletes and the community. So stay tuned. We're working hard. We're trying not to feed communication to the market and to the fans and community and athletes that will be false hope or misinformation. I think that's irresponsible right now. So we're just, cautiously waiting, like everybody in the world, for some sort of news and sign that, normalcy looks like this. It might be 12 months. It might be 6 months. It might be 3 months. It might be 18 months. But, nobody's really committing to what normalcy looks like or when, even a sporting event, might be a rational thought to have a sporting event with 10,000 people in a stadium, So we're working on it and, staying home, being safe, trying to do the right thing. So hope you guys are great. And thanks for asking me this question. Take care, guys.
Taken from that, I think the games are probably acting a lot like the sanctioned events. They're just kind of seeing how it goes and not giving false hope. That's why they said in the post they'll let us know in a couple of months. I feel like I just sat sideways for some reason. And they're being vague around the details. Because them, like us, we don't know how this pandemic is going to phase out. And then to finish today's vlog, just a couple of different bits of news. One of them is Patrick Vellner is funny. That's not news to anyone. And if it is, you don't understand Dry's sense of humour. Look at him here, enjoying his time with his dog on his couch, working out at home. Another post. Weekend, baby. Time to do the same thing as I did yesterday. Here's him on a live stream trying to figure it out.
Do I own a home gym? No, I don't.
After the last video that I did with some good news that you should go and click on it, the link will be down below. For each of you that do click on it, a little bit of smile will go into my face. I got made aware that the guy that was exploding the very small pumpkin, the world's smallest pumpkin, has actually exploded other things, like watermelons. Thanks, team. Your research is invaluable.
2001, 2002, 2003.
And then a tweet that really hit me deep today. It said, if you think girls are dramatic, you've never seen a guy lose in a video game. Got him! Got him! This is so true. After the last couple of weeks of quarantine, I've been getting quite good at Call of Duty Warzone, and by quite good, I mean that I might get a killer game. Hashtag streamer, by the way. I have been thinking about streaming, but I'd have to call it something like the crap streamer, because I'm just no good. But my friend, Kingsley, who I play with, he gets like 15 kills a game and he's great. So you can kind of watch him through my screen and you could become pros. Let me know if that's a good idea down below. However, yes, I have found that losing, especially when you're so close to winning, kind of like in CrossFit, the drama does come out, the dramatics. But anyway, team, what do you think about the CrossFit Games still going ahead? After all major kind of sporting competitions have been cancelled or postponed for a year, CrossFit Games are still trying to make it happen. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Put it down in the comments below, discuss. And if you have any more great stuff, like exploding watermelons, good news, funny memes, please do enjoy it yourself and then send it me on Instagram and I'll somehow work it into these vlogs. Thanks for tuning in today, team. I hope you're all staying safe at home and we'll catch you in the next one. Did my hair today and my beard for this. Oh, look, see, hair coming straight out. That was because I shaved it. What do you think? No haircut, apart from Jazz actually did do round the back. So actually, she said it wasn't the straightest, but she did the best she could. What do you think? I was thinking with this quarantine too, I was like, maybe I'll just grow my hair long, you know? Like every day is just another day and I'm not going to shave it. So I'm like, well, maybe when this quarantine, if it goes on for a couple more months, I'm definitely going long hair. And then it might get to that point where I'm like, I should really just do something about it, but I'm just going to let it go. Anyway, catch you in the next one.